Hello and welcome to Broadening Your Horizons. And today's topic is a news start for 2014. Happy New Year, everyone, and hope you all had a great Christmas. And it has come to my attention, though, through looking at the news over the Christmas time-ish, that there are certain kind of propaganda pieces put out by the mainstream media outlets. Today I'm kind of mainly focusing on BBC. However, I'm going to keep a close eye on the news articles, and I might do this maybe about once a week if I can find enough news articles to make a decent piece. I felt as well I found enough information today to bring to your attention. So it's Outcry as sex education chief warns forcing children to kiss relatives could be harmful. Where to start? Really, where to start? Forcing children to kiss relatives. Well, when I was growing up, I don't think I was ever forced to kiss my relatives, although sometimes it did feel kind of a little bit weird. You have cultures all over the world where kissing relatives is just normal practice. You have, various cultures where they kiss on both cheeks, even the men kiss the other men on both cheeks. It's common practice. It's just showing love and affection to one another. It's like giving someone a handshake. To me, the bigger picture of this, I caught on this through the UK column site, and a few of the articles on here I've actually caught on by the UK column, but I've dug it a little bit deeper and given you my insight. And there is a UN document stating that under over fives, so if you're 5 and over, you should have sex education, and the minimal sex education you should have is the education to know what masturbation is, and it's a UN document. I'll try and find that and put that at the bottom of the links at the bottom. All the articles that I'll put, there'll be links at the bottom of the page, so just click accordingly for you to read full articles. I won't put all the full articles on here because it takes a lot of my time to put the article onto the screen and onto the video. So the next piece we have, very kind of, in some ways it is a piece of propaganda, but in other ways it is quite true, that young people have nothing to live for. Well, I am a young person, and I can honestly say that I do have things to live for. It's up to your own personal life to sort your own life out. However, we do have pressures around us that are being manipulated to make young people find it difficult to succeed. And the reason behind that is that we have an elite upper class really stopping the middle class from even reaching the upper class, and you have the merging, or the kind of the lower class being kind of totally gone out of society. You just have this complete and utter one middle class society, and that's why we have kind of benefits as such. So people are supported, and there are always going to be huge diversities. But if you look at Victorian kind of times, you see that people are being put in jail for stealing a loaf of bread. And although now food poverty is probably at its highest, I would say ever, or at least since things like the Great Depression and eras like that, financial hard times. for young people specifically, it's probably the hardest time for us, and I can understand why this article has been put up. But to say young people have nothing to live for, is quite a bold statement. I mean, you could have rephrased that and said, well, young people are finding it harder and harder to live, instead of rephrasing it in a way that they're saying, well, we're having a lot of bombardment of pressures, and you do have kind of suicide rates and depression rates. The reason why they are so high is because families are being ripped apart. We have many generations of families gone through mainstream education and not being taught the value of the family, the value of time with family. You have things like the TV, gadgets getting in the way of social interactions, so that gets in the way of people feeling lonely, feeling depressed because there's nobody to support you because everyone's got their mobile phone. You go into a restaurant and you see two people having a dinner date and yet both on their mobile phones, trying to find or playing silly games on their mobile. Nobody's really interacting with each other anymore. It just seems that you have on one level interactions with people. You have on one level nobody can find a job. The highest, not the highest job unemployment ever with young people, but it is quite high, and it just seems to keep increasing. And although the government say, well, it's declining, but they keep changing this statistical kind of reasons that it needs to be. So, for instance, if you're part-time employed or you're a student, you don't get put in the statistics of unemployment. But there are many people who are just taking part-time jobs or becoming students. There are people who are becoming students genuinely just to try and make it as a career. They're going back to university to study because they can't get a career in what they want to do. They find it harder in other careers, so they think, well, I'm going to have a career change. There are people out there who do that, and many people have to take part-time work to survive down the local grocery store. So there are people finding it tougher and tougher. So here's a couple of quotes or kind of people's opinions. I've just taken these randomly. One, I think a couple of I disagree with. But so the first one, when I left school, less than 7% went on to university. I was one of the 93%. I'm 51 and have been laid off 5 times in the past 5 years, and each time it becomes more difficult to even get an interview for min-wage jobs, as the HR automations dismiss my applications. No degree equals no interview. I never get to discuss my 30 plus years experience with an actual employer. Desperate? Don't talk to me about being desperate. Well, mob. I honestly feel sorry for you. It's getting extremely tough out there. I'm actually unemployed myself, hence probably why I'm doing this podcast or thing. But it's just incredible that nobody's standing up to. It's difficult because I personally believe we shouldn't be looking to the government for solutions. We should be finding the solutions ourselves and creating jobs. However, government keeps getting in the way by putting regulations on certain industry, and regulation is just another word for control. That's all it is. It's the same as the word of license. License is control. You need to fill in a form, and if you don't meet our expectations. You can't do what we say, and it's controlling other people's actions through authority or quote unquote authority, and that is all it is. So the second one is the problems the youth are going through are a result of globalization, whose aim is to unite continents economically and politically, to group currencies together. Once organizations like NAFTA and the EU are created, they are then unify those. What threatens government is the unifying impact of the internet, which terrifies them. So they want control of that too, as told by Snowden, or Edward Snowden. I generally, totally and utterly agree with that. There is this plan to globalize everything, to industrialize everything. That's what the industrialized movement was about. Though you need to look back at this in terms of conspiracy. There is a conspiracy, a genuine conspiracy, and that conspiracy is to create a global governance. And this conspiracy was even before the Industrial Revolution. It happens through secret societies and elite planning together an agenda that goes through throughout society. So the next one. Okay, I had to change jobs because I was working 80 to 100 hours a week and found the attitude to someone 40 plus pretty negative. The education I've had deemed out of date, and my extensive recent education is certificate and accounts for nothing. I can run rings around graduates, but find subordinated to subordinated to them. Don't want to be a young person now. This is such a serious problem in society. It's people are having to work longer and longer and longer hours, and we have to bow down to the industrialization of China. China seems to be the work seems to be important down over to there, and this is also one of the elite's plans, is to not make China better than the Western world. I'm not saying the Western world's perfect, but I'm saying China has huge slavery issues, and child slavery. It's incredible, but they want to degrade our society and change our lifestyle to meet the Chinese kind of workforce. So they export, converse all the wealth into certain corporations, and the corporations themselves disperse and export the employment to other countries. So the other one is schools fail how to teach to deal with failure. They make them scared of it, so that when they do, they don't know how to pick themselves up. I finished school in 2010. I got good grades at GCSE and A level. I turned down uni because I didn't think it was worth it. I got training courses in IT support and got good qualifications. I'm now stuck in a stagnant job market where job opportunities don't exist. Well, I can't agree more. People saying kids have nothing to live for, yes, but at the same time, when failures come your way, you have to pick yourself back up. We have certain situations that come into our life that we don't really want, but we have to fight through them and battle them in order to succeed. That is the only way, but it seems to be that the whole education system. Part of it is to kind of nanny state the society to make people kind of dumbed down and oh, you can't do this. I mean, for instance, last year, one of the crazy news stories, I think it was last year, that a kid flew a flapjack that was triangular shaped, and it hit the guy's one of the guy's head, and I don't think it knocked him out. I'm not sure, but I'm guessing the flapjack was fairly dense because it probably hurt him quite a lot. But the school banned triangular shaped flapjacks and converted them to square shaped flapjacks. I was a bit confused to why they done that, because square shaped has 4 corners and triangular has 3, so you have a less likelihood of hitting somebody with a corner if you have less corners. But that, I don't think that was their logic. I think their logic was, I have no idea what their logic was. But so this is kind of nanny state we live in. We need to pat people down, and little kids down. So the next. Okay, yeah. This is one that I'm seriously shocked about. Is this infringement on free speech? Really, I see it quite a lot. It seems to be kind of one of the biggest issues lately. They can seem to be picking on cyberbullying, on various social media issues, and this is one of them. It seems these two people, they don't look the most brightest people, I have to admit. I'm not kind of advocating or supporting what they said or anything. This is my point. These two people have gone to court because they tweeted this lady, and she didn't like him. She didn't like the tweets. They were fairly abusive, quote unquote, and they were threatening. They wasn't nice comments. Now, I don't think somebody should actually get away with, or I don't think somebody should be horrible to somebody. It's not, but uncalled for. And the reasons behind this seem very petty and stupid. So it's that they didn't really have much of a case. However, they have tweeted this lady, and they haven't actually physically hurt her. They haven't, and she's making out that that they're going to harm her. It's just confusing, the whole case. But to me, this is a matter of free speech. These people should have the right to say what they want, and if this woman feels offensive over to what they want, then she needs to take this up with the people themselves, and if they don't respond, if they don't comply, then take herself out of that situation and move on. Taking it to a court, she doesn't know these people. She found them on Twitter. So, I've had many debates and arguments on, YouTube and things like that, where you write a comment and somebody doesn't agree with you, and you just, have a debate back and forth. I find them sometimes quite fun, and she just decided to take them to court because she didn't like what they said. Now, we actually have a case going on at the moment. I work or volunteer for the People's Voice. It's a online radio television network, and there's wannabe journalists and broadcasting presenters, Sonia Poulton, had left the show, and she left because she had allegations against the show, and it's quite a long story. I'm not going to go into it now. You can watch videos on both sides, and it's quite kind of broadcasted out there. However, this issue isn't taken to court because so and so wasn't happy what so and so said, and so, and it's all out in the open on social media sites and things like that. But nobody's taken anyone to court. They're all resolving this through just talking to each other, or maybe not talking to each other. But people have issues in the day-to-day life, and they resolve them by talking to each other. And if they don't resolve each other, especially when it's to do with just social media sites, but with people who you don't know, you just take yourself out of your situation. Don't use the social media sites if you're prone to people attacking you. If you don't like people attacking you, don't use them. It's as simple as that. If you get insulted easily, don't use them. So, on to the next one. This is a quick one. IMDb commits $1 billion to new Watson supercomputer division. I'm not sure what they're planning on doing, but knowing what IMDb's history is, and knowing their agenda with smart cities and smart kind of technology, quote unquote smart, looking at how to design cities and making cities all wonderfully technological. Why are they building a supercomputer? It seems to me as though they've just got too much money to spend, and they're not really sure. Well, they are sure what to do with this, shall I say? But if this was a small corporation, I don't think. Well, just starting off the ground, I don't think they'll be looking to build a massive supercomputer. Is this a kind of AI system? Who knows? Anyway, so the next one, and this really does follow on, because the big one is CES 2014. Samsung smart home aims to connect devices. Now, this is an agenda I see to make every single household item that can be monitored by people who can make money off of knowing information in your home, by selling data, by accumulating data to predict people's behavior. This is what it's all about. This is 2014, and many science fiction writers have kind of wrote extensively and created wonderful ideas, stories on this, that how technology can take us to the limits of control. And we see this with CCTV and how it affects the mind. And this is one thing I'm going to actually address later on is how technology is affecting the mind, how globalization is affecting the mind, how I'm reading a book called Meeting the Shadow. I think I mentioned it last time. I'm actually still reading it. I'm reading like 4 different books at the same time, so I tend to kind of jump between the books. So this book is he talks about the wilderness and how the idea of wilderness actually is quite destructive, because we think of wilderness being something that's opposite, kind of is a disorderly mess type thing. But wilderness is actually, in some ways, a good thing. We kind of need wildernesses, like we need rainforests. Rainforests are a wilderness, but we need them desperately, and yet people just keep chopping down wildernesses because they want to see order. It's one thing of control, order, and chaos. They want to see order. And this really kind of ties into the psychological thing as well, I want to tie on to, but this is incredibly important. This latest story from the BBC about the reorganisation of the army, set for a 2020 reorganisation. This is very confusing in some ways anyway, but it's about changing the way the military operates. We have technology now, we have drones, so we can just switch of a button, kill people willy-nilly. But what I find strange is that we have only an army of 100,000 people, and yet we're meant to be one of the strongest armies in the world, or one of the most militarized nations in the world. So we have the armed forces in terms of technology and in terms of investment. We have a lot of huge investment financially in the war industry. For instance, in London last year in the winter, there was a army or weapons show to show off all the latest technology, like the CES conference that's just happened, that I'll be talking in another video. The people in charge of the army, they're not dumb. They're very tactical. They know what they're doing. They have an agenda, and the people high up, they know where the military or where the global agenda of war is going. So it's quite important that we keep an eye out on this topic of our own army in the UK, and certainly it's changing the face. I mean, we've just had generations of children not really being pushed to go to war. They need young people to go to war now. So that's the show for today. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel and go to the blog page, the usual shebangs. So thank you very much for listening, and I'll catch up soon with hopefully some more news, some more stories, some more thoughts, philosophy, ideas, and spreading information.